Close your eyes and feel your own breath for a moment. Not someone else's gaze, not a memory, not a longing, just breath. You see, we often chase love like a flame in the wind, forgetting that fire only stays where stillness shelters it. So ask yourself, if love were to knock, would your heart be a home or a hallway still echoing with past footsteps? If you seek lasting love, not a flicker, but a quiet sun that warms your life, stay with me, because love, real love, does not start in another person. It starts in how you begin, with yourself. If you wish to grow a forest, you do not begin by planting trees in chaos. First, you must quiet the earth, remove the stones, clear the brambles, listen for the wind. Only when the soil is still, truly still, can a seed fall into place and remain there long enough to become something. So too with love. Most people search for it in noise, in the hurried scroll of faces, the restless hunger of attraction, the ache of loneliness dressed as desire. But lasting love, the kind that grows roots and does not flee in winter, cannot live in noise. It chooses stillness. Stillness is not silence. It is presence. It is the kind of listening you offer a sunset or the first snowfall. It is the way a mountain receives rain without effort or resistance. When you begin with stillness, you are not seeking love, you are preparing a sacred ground where love might wish to dwell. There is a tale from a monastery high in the mountains. A young monk once asked the elder, "How can I find love that remains?" The elder poured tea into 2 cups, one still, one shaking. "Which holds the tea?" he asked. "Still one," replied the novice. The elder smiled. "Then become still, and love will know where to pour." The lesson is simple, but not easy. In a world that demands motion, to choose stillness is an act of rebellion and reverence. When you are still, you are no longer echoing the voices of the past, nor projecting hopes onto the future. You are here, and love, real love, can only find you here. You might notice this in daily life. The people who radiate calm seem to draw others in effortlessly, not because they speak louder or dress brighter, because their very presence is restful. We are drawn to what brings us peace, not pressure. The same is true in love. If your mind is racing, your heart grasping, others will sense that. But if your spirit is steady, they will feel safe, and that safety is where love wants to land. Nature mirrors this perfectly. A lake cannot reflect the sky when it is stormed by wind. Only when the surface is calm does it offer a true image. Your relationships are the same. If you are still within, you reflect others clearly. If you are restless, you distort them, and they you. As Lao Tzu once said, "To the mind that is still, the whole universe surrenders." The same can be said of love. To the heart that is still, love surrenders its mystery. It does not flee, it does not hide. It enters softly with bare feet and rests beside you. Stillness requires patience, a willingness to be alone, not as punishment, but as preparation. It is the art of becoming enough for yourself, so that when love arrives, it enhances you, not completes you. And when it departs, it does not destroy you, for your foundation was never theirs to hold. So if you seek lasting love, do not rush, do not chase. Sit quietly with yourself. Watch the thoughts. Watch the breath. Let the heart unclench. Become the stillness in which love recognizes itself. Before you can offer water to another, you must first have a well. We live in a world where people pour from broken cups. They give, hoping to be filled. They love, hoping to be loved. But giving from emptiness is not generosity. It is desperation in disguise. Lasting love begins when you learn to hold yourself, to sit in the silent mornings with your own presence and feel it is enough, to listen to your own thoughts without judgment, to soothe your own wounds without expecting someone else to do it for you. This is not isolation. It is inner intimacy, the kind that prepares you for love that does not ask, what can you give me? But rather, can we share from what overflows? There is a story from the eastern mountains. A traveler, lost and thirsty, stumbled upon a monk carrying water. Please, the traveler begged, may I have some of your water? The monk smiled, but his bucket was empty. I gave all I had to another man, he said, and now neither of us have enough. The lesson is clear. Without caring for your own well, you will dry in the effort to quench another. And soon, love will feel like a burden instead of a blessing. In daily life, we see this everywhere. A person gives all their time, energy, and care, believing that sacrifice will earn them love, but it doesn't. Often, it leads to resentment, because giving what you don't truly have only empties you and teaches others to expect what you cannot sustain. Self-love is often mistaken for vanity, but true self-love is not loud. It is not painted on mirrors or shouted from rooftops. It is quiet and rooted. It is the way a tree turns towards sunlight. It is how the ocean moves with the tide, but never doubts its depth. When you love yourself, not in ego, in essence, you stop begging for scraps. You stop over-giving to win approval. You stop shrinking to be chosen. Instead, you become someone who can sit at the table of love and bring your own nourishment. This is the difference between hunger and wholeness. One chases, the other attracts. One pleads, the other receives. It is only when you feel full within that you can discern whether another's love is a gift or a distraction. Nature teaches us again. Bees seek flowers that bloom. Birds rest on branches that hold. Love is no different. It seeks what is already vibrant, what is already complete. Your wholeness is the invitation. Your emptiness is the echo that drives it away. The philosopher Gibran once said, "Let there be spaces in your togetherness." This space comes when two full people meet, not to fill each other, to share what already overflows. So if your cup feels empty, pause. Do not rush to give. Do not beg to be filled. Instead, walk gently with yourself. Speak kindly. Rest deeply. Tend to your wounds as you would a child's. Slowly, the cup will fill. Slowly, the love you once demanded will feel unnecessary, because you are already held. And when that happens, something magical occurs. You no longer love out of need. You love out of being. You no longer offer to be accepted. You offer because your very existence has become an offering. Let love begin there. Let it begin in the quiet waters of your own heart, where even if no one else comes to drink, you know the well is full. In the quiet space between stillness and self-love, something ancient awakens. It is not excitement. It is not longing. It is peace. And that peace is where lasting love takes root. So walk slowly. Breathe deeply. Begin not by looking outward, but inward. And remember, when you are still and when you are full, love has already begun. A flame that chases the wind is quickly lost. It burns hot, leaps high, and then fades, extinguished by the very force it pursued. This is how many approach love, as something to be found, caught, possessed. But love, when it is real and lasting, cannot be hunted. It is not prey. It is not a goal. It is a state. And the deepest truth is this: lasting love begins not with seeking, but with becoming. Most hearts are in search, hoping someone will appear and make them whole. They chase love as if it lies somewhere outside, hidden behind a smile, waiting to be discovered in the eyes of another. But the truth walks a different path. To find true love, you must first become what you seek. A monk once walked the forest, asking all he met, "Have you seen love?" He asked the hawk, it flew away. He asked the stream, it only flowed. He asked the mountain, it said nothing. Finally, he sat beneath a tree, exhausted. In the stillness, he noticed a small bird land beside him. It sang sweetly, and in that moment, he realized he had stopped searching. He had become the silence in which love arrived. This story is not about a bird. It is about surrender. When you become still enough to stop seeking, you become receptive. And in that receptivity, love does not need to be forced. It appears. In daily life, we see this lesson again and again. The people who most often draw us in are not those who need love the most, those who carry a quiet radiance. They are present, grounded, not chasing. Their energy says, I am already full. And in that fullness, we find them irresistible, not because they are demanding love, but because they embody it. To become love is to live in a state of openness, compassion, honesty, and steadiness. It is to cultivate within yourself the very qualities you hope to find in another. If you desire someone who is kind, become kindness. If you long for someone who listens, listen to yourself. If you wish for someone who sees you fully, first learn to see yourself without turning away. The wisdom of the ancients reminds us, as within, so without. This is not merely poetic. It is law. What you hold inside will shape what you attract. What you fear will shape what you chase. What you embody will shape what stays. Khalil Gibran once wrote, and think not you can direct the course of love, for love, if it finds you worthy, directs your course. In these words lies a quiet invitation to become worthy not by effort, but by essence. Look at nature. The sun does not ask the flowers to bloom, it simply shines. And the flowers respond. The tree does not beg the birds to nest, it stands firm and they come. You too must become what is steady, what is true. And in that, love will no longer be something you seek. It will be something that seeks you. Becoming love also means no longer using others as mirrors of your worth. When you stand in self-possession, you do not crumble when someone walks away. You do not shatter when you are not chosen. Because you have chosen yourself already. This is not pride. It is peace. And peace is the soil in which lasting love grows. Not because it is without storms, but because it can weather them. So the next time you find yourself chasing, pause, breathe, ask not, how can I make them love me? But rather, how can I deepen my love for myself, for life, for this moment? In that shift, something quiet and powerful unfolds. You no longer run. You become the path others wish to walk. When we begin to embody what we seek, chase ends. The radiance begins, and love, seeing its own reflection in us, stays. Discipline is often misunderstood. We think of it as rigidity, as rules, as something that removes freedom. But in truth, discipline is the vessel that holds love when emotion alone cannot. It is devotion in motion. The quiet promise kept long after the feeling has faded. It is what allows something beautiful to last. Love begins with feeling yes, but it survives through practice. Passion sparks the fire. Discipline keeps it alive. There is an old Zen story of a potter and his kiln. Every day he crafted bowls with care, placing them inside the fire to be shaped. One day a visitor asked, "Why do you make them the same way every time?" The potter replied, "I do not make bowls, I shape silence into form. My repetition is not routine, it is reverence. So too with love. The daily acts, the listening, the patience, the holding of space are not small things. They are the clay that shapes the bond. Rue the park. Without the discipline to keep showing up, even beauty will break. In our world, we glorify the spark, the first kiss, the romantic gestures, the fireworks. But what of the quiet morning when nothing is exciting? What of the hard conversations when it would be easier to walk away? What of the moments when fear whispers, run? Discipline says, stay. Not stay in suffering, but stay in truth, present when it would be easier to escape. In personal development, this can be seen clearly. A person might feel inspired to meditate, to grow, to heal. But if they only move when motivated, their growth is short-lived. It is the discipline of returning to the breath again and again that transforms the mind. In love, it is the same. To love with discipline is to make sacred the ordinary, to choose presence even when distracted, to speak gently even when triggered, to remember the why even when the how becomes difficult. This does not mean forcing love where it no longer lives. Discipline is not staying in places that harm you. It is staying aligned with your values, your truth, and your capacity for compassion, even when tested. A line from the ancient Bhagavad Gita reminds us, yoga is the journey of the self through the self to the self. If we replace yoga with love, the meaning remains love is not an external victory. It is an inner path walked with steadiness. Discipline is also protection. Like a fence around a sacred garden, it keeps out the weeds of neglect, disrespect, impulsiveness. It reminds us to pause before speaking harshly, to reflect before acting selfishly, to nourish what we wish to preserve. Consider the moon. It does not shine fully every night, yet it follows a rhythm, a quiet, disciplined arc across the sky. It waxes and wanes, but never disappears. Love is much the same. It will have seasons. It will grow, recede, return. But with devotion, with discipline, it continues. In relationships, this means we do not abandon each other at the first sign of winter. We do not expect the sun every day. We learn to tend the fire, to walk gently through the snow, to plant again when spring comes. Discipline teaches us how to love beyond the feeling into the choice. And in that choice, love gains roots. It becomes not a flicker, but a flame, not a moment, but a movement. So begin today, not with grand declarations, but with quiet consistency. Speak truth, hold space, return even when it would be easier to retreat. This is not punishment. It is practice. It is prayer in motion. And then when discipline and love walk hand in hand, what they build can weather anything. As you move from the idea of becoming love to the practice of sustaining it, the path begins to reveal itself as one of great beauty. It is not hurried. It is not filled with noise. It is steady, like a river carving through rock. Quiet, but unspoken. It whispers, grow, even if you grow beyond me. Where attachment demands security, love invites presence. When we are attached, we are not loving the other as they are. We are grasping at what they represent: safety, validation, relief from loneliness. The mind imagines, holds, clutches. It spins stories of possession. But in truth, nothing we hold in fear can truly stay. It will either slip away or remain out of guilt, and both are wounds disguised as connection. To love from presence is to meet each moment without demanding a promise. It is to see the person in front of you, not as an answer, as a living soul, changing, breathing, becoming. It is not about keeping them. It is about being with them fully in each breath that they choose to stay. There is a story from a quiet monastery where a student watched a butterfly land on his open hand. It rested there for several minutes, its wings gently moving in the morning sun. In his wonder, the student slowly began to close his fingers, hoping to hold the moment longer. But the butterfly sensed the grip and flew away. The master, who had been observing, said simply, "When you held it gently, it stayed. When you tried to keep it, it left." This is the nature of love. It breathes in openness, dies in grasping. We often enter relationships with invisible contracts. Stay so I won't feel abandoned. Love me so I feel worthy. Reassure me so I feel safe. But these contracts turn sacred unions into negotiations. Instead of being present with the person, we become preoccupied with what they provide. We stop seeing them and only see what we fear losing. In daily life, this plays out quietly. The lover who checks their partner's phone, not out of curiosity, but fear. The friend who becomes distant when not constantly reassured. The parent who lives through the child, hoping their presence fills an inner emptiness. These acts are not love. They are signals of attachment masking as care. Presence, by contrast, is pure. It asks us, can I be with you in this moment? without expecting you to soothe me. This does not mean we become indifferent or passive. Presence is not detachment. It is full engagement. Without trying to control, it is staying open to another's freedom, even when it scares us. The philosopher Chuang Tzu once said, "When you let go of what you are, you become what you might be." In relationships, this means letting go of roles, expectations, and identities we impose so love can emerge naked and new each day. Nature shows us this beautifully. Look at the clouds. They do not cling to the sky. They pass through it, dancing with the winds, shifting with light. And yet the sky is never empty. It holds space for all that comes and goes. Be like the sky in love. Hold space. Let each moment pass through. When you love in presence, something extraordinary happens. You become a sanctuary. You become a place where another feels seen, not because you need them to be a certain way, but because you are willing to meet them exactly as they are. That safety, that spaciousness is the essence of lasting love. So when you feel the urge to control, to grip, to secure, pause, breathe, ask yourself, am I acting from love or from fear? Most times, the answer will not be easy, but it will be honest. And in that honesty, transformation begins. Love cannot be chained, but it will sit beside you if your presence is steady, if your eyes are kind, if your spirit is not a cage, but a quiet field in which it can rest. Let go, not of love, but of fear. Let go of the illusion that holding tighter will make someone stay. Instead, be still, be real, be here. And in that spaciousness, love will find its way. There is a wisdom older than words, deeper than thought, more constant than emotion. It moves through the breath. When life becomes confusing, noisy, or overwhelming, return to it. The breath holds the answers the mind forgets. Inhale, you are here. Exhale, go. Love, too, lives in the breath. It is not a thought. It is not a plan. It is a presence. And presence is born in breath. Many seek love with their minds, overanalyzing, rehearsing, fearing, imagining. But the mind is always one step ahead or one step behind. It cannot dwell in now. And love, true love, only lives in now. There is a parable about a man who journeyed to a great teacher, desperate to understand love. "Tell me what love is," he pleaded. The teacher handed him a bowl of water and said, "Walk across this garden without spilling a single drop." The man focused intensely, eyes down, and completed the task. When he returned, the teacher asked, "Did you see the flowers?" "No." "The birds?" "Nope." "The sunrise?" "No, I was too focused on the water." The teacher replied, "Then you carried water, but you missed life." To love is not only to carry carefully, to notice beauty along the way. Presence is not tension. It is awareness. In our striving to get love right, we often forget to live it. We measure, fear, control. But love is not an exam. It is an experience, one that unfolds moment by moment in the space of the breath. In daily life, this can be practiced with gentle simplicity. When you are with someone you love, take a full breath before responding. Listen not just to their words, but their silence. When you feel overwhelmed, place a hand on your chest and return to your breathing. Notice how the breath softens the body, how the breath is never in the past or future, it is always now, and this now is where love is waiting. In meditation practice, the breath is often the anchor, not because it is exciting, but because it is always available. Love, too, becomes our anchor, not in passion alone, but in patience, not in grand gestures, but in small awareness. The way you pour tea, the way you listen without interrupting, the way you let your gaze soften. These are the breathings of love. As Thich Nhat Hanh once said, "Breathing in, I calm my body. Breathing out, I smile. Dwelling in the present moment, I know this is a wonderful moment." Let this be your mantra in love. Let this be your returning. There is wisdom in knowing that breath is both fragile and strong. A single gasp can be a cry for help. A single sigh, a release of grief. Through it all, it continues. It carries us. Love, too, is breath-like. It shifts, it deepens. It needs space. When we try to hold it too tightly, we suffocate it. When we trust it, it flows. The trees remind us of this. Watch how they sway in the wind. They do not resist the air, they move with it. Their roots hold them steady, but their branches yield. This is how we must love. Rooted in presence, flexible in heart. When your mind becomes heavy with questions, will they stay? Do they love me enough? What will happen next? Return to the breath. It does not have answers. But it brings you back to where answers are not needed. Only truth. Only presence, only being, and in that place you will find love is already there, not outside, not ahead, not in the hands of another, but within, breathing with you, becoming you. So let the breath teach you how to love. Let it show you the way of softness, of patience, of release. Let it be your constant, your guide. Inhale, you are love. Exhale, you are free. Let this rhythm carry you. Let it be the music that moves your days. And when others come into your life, may they feel this quiet steadiness in you. The breath of love, flowing without force. There is nothing to hold, nothing to chase, only this moment. And in this moment, everything is whole. Everything is already enough. Everything is love. If you want love that stays, start where it begins. Not in their eyes, but in your breath. Not in their words, but in your stillness. You are not preparing for a person. You are preparing for a state of being that can hold love without losing peace. And when you become that space, love will no longer be a question. It will be an answer that rises quietly within you again and again. So watch this again. If needed, let it seep into the soil of your soul. Because when you begin like this, what stays was always meant to